Well, it's good to be back with you guys. We're gonna take you to the next level with this training today. This is called life enhancement. It's a follow-up to game plan. How many of you were here last time I had the opportunity to speak? Okay. Any newbies here? Got a couple rookies? Okay. You newbies, good. Well, welcome. This topic is near and dear to my heart. You know, I'll share a little bit about my background again. I'm the president of the company Occupational Athletics, author, speaker on Road Dog Channel, 17 years now. Started in 2000. I just recently asked my co-host, I said, how many listeners are we up to on our segment? And I was shocked. He said, we're up to 1.2 to 1.5 million drivers tuning in to our Road Dog Channel on our particular segment. So we know drivers are out there tuning in. The question is, what are you doing about it? You know, the ball's in your court. Like Harold said, you know, it's tough out there. We get it. I've been on the road with drivers for many years, and I experienced firsthand what you guys got to go through and deal with. Since I saw you guys, I've done several drives. I've been speaking all over the country. I just get done speaking in Memphis on a topic called mental safety, because a lot of folks right now are struggling with mental health issues. Would you agree? There's a lot of stuff going on out there, and we're seeing more and more of it in our healthcare practice. And at the end of the day, guys, you got one life to live. You know what? You can live it any way you want. And in America, we make it hard to live right, don't we? We make it hard. We make it hard because of our nutritional habits and everything else. So we like convenience. Would you agree? Yeah, we like convenience. Now, I remember Al from last time. He's our seasoned player, as I called him last time. Seasoned. Don't call anybody old. I heard somebody back there saying you're old. Yeah, that was you, buddy. I remember you from last time, too. Yeah, what's your first name?
I've never been here before.
That's why I like you. He's like Larry the Cable Guy kind of dude. Huh? Yeah. So I'm going to get. Where's Carol? All right, Carol, come on up here, Seth. Now, listen, guys. This is for you. Okay. This is for you. Who said that?
Yeah, it was him.
Now, I wrestled for 14 years, and I know sleeper holds, so. Well, yeah, remember, wrestlers always beat boxers. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, this is called the parking lot. Now, this meeting's for you. So what do you guys want out of this for yourselves? Okay, we're going to hang out here for about an hour or so together. So I want to know what you want to get out of this training that I'm going to do right now. Again, it's called Life Enhancement. It's a spin-off of that game plan talk I gave you. So, Carol, you got a marker here?
Yeah, I have markers.
Let's just kind of randomly go around the room. What would you like out of this session today for yourself personally, or for the company, whatever it might be? What would you like to get out?
Just pick up a few points on something I don't know.
All right, pick up a few pointers, a few points of things you may not know. Okay. Tim, what would you like out of this today? $1 million. $1 million. Don't put that up there. Play the lottery. No, seriously, you want something out of this?
No, I enjoyed your last year. I'm going to enjoy it today.
Okay, so he just wants to get some enjoyment. All right, how about you, my friend? What would you like to get out of this today?
Better ways to live.
Okay, better ways to live. That's good. We'll talk about that. Anything you'd like to get out of this today? What would you like to get out of this seminar today? He has no idea.
You'd like to get out of it.
He wants to go home. What I'm going to ask you, because you're my buddy, what would you like out of this?
Out of what?
Oh, I got to love this.
Trying to figure out why some people are Steeler fans. I'm sorry.
Well, after last weekend's performance, I'm wondering why now, too. How could the Bears beat us? That's horrible. Yeah, all our Steeler fans are in mourning still on that one. What would you like out of this?
Oh, God.
Well,
Well, I take pretty good care of myself. I guess those tips and things, doing a better job.
so do a better job taking care of yourself. How about you?
Time management.
Good. Time management. That's a big one. What do you want out of here, Tony? Knowledge.
Healthy drivers.
Healthy drivers. Yes, that's why we're doing this, right? And Carol cares, obviously. She wouldn't be doing this if she didn't care about you guys. And I think you guys realize that, I hope.
How about Phil Younger?
Feel younger. Well, that starts in your mind, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You feel old?
Some days.
Now, if your mind says you're old, what are you?
Old.
You're old. You have reverse psychology. So feel younger. Anybody else got a thought?
About sleep patterns.
Sleep patterns. Sleep better. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit today. Anybody else got a thought? Well, I'm going to start with sharing a story, okay? Because I think stories are important. Now, I've been doing this for 30-some years. I've been speaking publicly for 26 years. And all the drivers that I listen to, but how many of you guys feel right now your attitude is where it needs to be? Anybody here struggling with their attitudes? Positive, negative, indifferent? So how many of you here like to hang out with negative people to bring you down? Put your hand up. Yeah, you like them. I know why you like them. Because it makes you feel better about you. Right? At the end of the day, our attitudes are driving a lot of stuff. So here's an attitude story. So I got invited. I was speaking in Las Vegas at an event, and in the audience was one of the senior leaders and the safety director, and they said, "Hey, Mark, would you bring that message to our company? We're struggling." I said, "What do you do?" "Well, we're in the mining business. And dirty jobs has been in our business 3 times. Our morale's in the toilet. And we got a mass unit of injuries every day. We got people going down with injuries." Now, they have some drivers out there, but their industry is very tough. You all know dirty jobs, right? Okay. So they said, "We're about ready to go on strike, too, and we want to try to prevent that. We want to give them something positive, so we'd like you to come on in and see if you can help us out." I said, "Why don't you get through your strike, see what happens after that negotiation, then I'll show up." They said, "No, we want to give a dose of something positive." I said, "Well, I'm up for the challenge. When do you want to do it?" ASAP. Got your calendar with you? They booked me right on the spot. So visualize this. First day on the job. It's in Milwaukee. They make the largest earth-moving equipment in the world, and they're in the mining industry. Okay, now mining's a tough business. Anybody ever work in mining? It's tough stuff. And miners don't live real long. So I go into this company, and the first session I'm going to do is 7 a.m. And it's a mandatory meeting, 90-minute sessions. And the first crew coming in, they were looking kind of dirty, and they were. I thought it was first shift coming on. Here's night shift getting off work, and they're making them stay 90 minutes extra to hear my spiel. That's the worst thing in the world to do to a speaker. So visualize this audience. 150 guys, disgruntled, angry at each other. I heard language coming out of people's mouths I never heard before, Carol. They're swearing at each other. I mean, they're dropping all kind of language. And I was like, wow, this is like an Andrew Dice Clay convention for bad language. Remember the Dice Man? Remember that guy? I mean, one attitude was worse than the next. So I thought, okay, this should be an interesting training. So I'm ready to go. And it's like right at 7. I asked the manager, "You ready to go?" He said, "Not yet, Mark. There's one more guy coming in. And I'm going to tell you, this next guy coming in, I'm not starting this seminar until he shows up. He's got the worst attitude you ever met in your life." I said, "I kind of doubt that. I've met a lot of attitudes in my life. Not like this guy. I'm pre-warning you. Be careful with him because he's got a really bad attitude." It's all right. Well, where's he at? Don't know, but I'm not starting. So I look down the hallway, and there's a guy strolling down the hallway, and he's giving me a hairy eyeball look. You ever get one of those, Tim? Now, when I wrestled, remember the hairy eyeball look? Yeah, if you were in sports, you know, especially wrestling, one-on-one context where you're going to stare your, or if you're a boxer, yeah, you got to give him that look. You want to beat him up, right? This guy's giving me that look, and I said to the boss, I said, "Is this the guy you're talking about?" Because I felt a negative energy off of this human being. You ever feel negative energy off somebody? You can feel it. You ever feel the energy of a positive person? You can feel that too. That was a room full of disgruntled and negative people. So this guy's coming in. I thought, all right, I'm going to use my Dale Carnegie training on this guy. How to win friends, influence people. Anybody familiar with Dale Carnegie training? That's good stuff, isn't it, Tony? Yep. Yeah, it's fundamentally sound. Guy comes in the room. I reached out my hand. I said, "How you doing, my friend? I'm Mark Everest. I'm going to do your seminar today. Nice to meet you." Well, he barely looked at me. He didn't shake my hand. He said 2 words to me. The F word and the A word. You know what I'm talking about, Tim?
Fine.
Now this is a family show, Tim, so don't say what you're thinking. Now I was a little caught off guard by that, and I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe it's early in the morning, maybe I didn't pick up on that. I said, I'm sorry, what did you say? Now he said it again. That was my mistake to ask him a second time. Now he said it again, and he said it very, very slow. Drops the two words again. Then he pointed in my face to him. He said, what don't you understand? Now, my blood's boiling. I'm thinking to myself, I want to take this guy down right now. He was deconditioned. He wouldn't take care of himself. And his attitude was horrible. Tim, what do you say to this guy? What's your reaction? What do you say? Have a seat. What do you say to this guy?
You don't want to know.
He's going to say the same thing he said to you, right? Joe, what do you say to this guy?
Probably not feed into the negative energy.
Well, first of all, I don't work for the company. They brought me in as a professional speaker. And I was kind of lost for words. All I could think of at that moment was, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, my friend. Have a seat. Okay? Now, he's the last one in the room. And guess where he had to sit? Right up front. Good news, bad news about the front seat. Good news is they're in the front seat. Bad news is they're in the front seat. So I thought, okay, I'm going to pop a question to these guys, and I know it might rile them up a little bit. I'm going to talk about morale. Okay, morale. Think that's a big deal? All right, so guys, I know there's a lot of tough stuff going on here right now. I know you got some challenges. Let's rank morale, 1 to 10. 1 is bad, 10 is fantastic. Where do you put it? I randomly picked some guy. I said, how about you? Where do you put it there, buddy? 1. Okay, we're starting. I get another guy. Where do you put morale in this company? 1.5. Hey, we're climbing. Now, 10 is best, 1's the worst. I couldn't get above a 1.5. In the back of the room, there's a guy standing up, and he's crossed his arms, and he's smiling the whole time. I'm here, wait, there might be a positive attitude out of this bunch. I said, my friend back there, standing up with your arms crossed, where do you rank the morale in this company? You talking about me? Yeah, you, buddy. For me personally, I give it an 8. I said, whoa, what do you do here? Same thing we all do here. We're in the same department, same shift, same everything. I go to the guy with a bad attitude in the front row. And I said, how about you, buddy? Where do you rank morale? He didn't want to answer. 100+ guys are yelling at him. Come on, you loser, tell him. Well, nobody liked this guy, obviously, because he had a bad attitude. And then he says this, -5. I said, dude, it starts at 1. Now, what he said next, it was horrible. I won't even tell you what he said next in front of all these people. I said to the guy in the back, I said, wait a minute, you guys all work there. How do you give it an 8? And your buddy up here gives it a -5. He looks at him, he says, because that guy's got a really bad attitude. Okay? So here's the deal. Attitudes are contagious. They can drive you up, drive you down. I'd rather hang out with the ones that bring you up. I know not every day is a good day, but there's something good in every day if you dig deep enough, you know what I mean? So I get into this message and I start talking about, the reality of aging and, what we do. This guy was bringing everybody down like a cancer. Now, the reason I'm sharing this story with you, there's a positive outcome to this story. So I do my thing. At the end of my talk, I was shocked. This guy comes up to me, Carol, and he reached his hand out, and he shook my hand, and he apologized. He said, Mark, I'm sorry I said that to you when I walked in the room this morning. I don't know you. I shouldn't have said that. But I've got a lot of challenges in my life. Did you pick up I got a bad attitude? I said, did I pick up you got a bad attitude? I said, I felt your bad attitude down the hallway. Well, there's reasons for that. Can I talk to you in private? Now, I learn from people. Would you agree? You learn from people. You can learn from books and experience and people. I said, so what's going on, my friend? What's driving your attitude? A lot of things, man. I got a lot of problems. Yeah. Go ahead. So he opened up to me. He said, well, first of all, right now I'm going through a nasty divorce. Got a couple kids involved. I'm struggling. It's not pretty. I thought to myself, if I was married to you, I would dump your butt too. I thought that, Carol. I didn't say it, though.
Okay.
He said, on top of that, right now, I'm struggling financially. On top of that, my mother is very ill right now in a hospital, and I don't know if she's going to make it. Can you see why I have a bad attitude? Plus, I work night shifts. Everything you just preached, I don't do. I feel horrible. My energy is like 0. I eat bad, I smoke like a chimney, on and on and on about his horrible lifestyle. Okay? And I said, listen, buddy, I can't change your attitude. Would you agree you can't change anybody? You ever try to change somebody in your life? Spouse, coworker, okay, friend, whoever. You can't change anybody. You can only change yourself. He said, how do I get a bad attitude? Nobody likes me here. No, that was obviously the way they acted about him. I said, look, I'm going to share a little experience. Now, if you remember when I talked to you last year, I used to work in hospitals. I worked in the ER. I worked in the children's cancer wing. I worked in the orthopedic sections of the hospital. I worked in nursing homes. I worked in these places, right? I said, listen, why don't you put your problems in perspective? Next time you go visit your mom, do they have a children's cancer wing there? He goes, I think they do, actually. I said, well, make sure they do. And here's what I want you to do. Before you go see your mother, go up to that hallway and walk that hallway and see those cancer kids and meet them. I dealt with them, okay? They have better attitudes than probably 95% of all adults that I meet. Cancer kids. They're just starting their young lives, terminally ill. They don't even know if they're going to make it. And as sad as it is for their parents and loved ones, those kids are special kids. Now, I work with Penn State's teaching hospital. We have a big cancer unit there for kids. I said, and you meet them and see how big your problems are. Never thought about that. Well, you might want to think about that. Matter of fact, when you're done with there, walk the halls of a nursing home. Put your hand up. You ever been to a nursing home? Yeah, if you've been to the halls of a nursing home, would you agree it's a sad place to finish life? And I worked with nursing home patients for years. I said, and see what they're going through, and look at their lives, and think how big your problems are. I never thought about that either. Well, you got to think about other people other than yourself and your own problems. Here's the deal, guys. We're all going to have problems, right? How many of you know people right now in this room have bigger problems than you? You know anybody got bigger problems than you? I bet you everybody here, you dig deep enough. And here's what happens to all of us. We get caught up in our problems, and guess where we bring them? Sometimes we bring those to work, and it's hard not to, right? Because those problems, where are they? They're in your head. And I go, wherever you go. So at the end of the day, you got one life. Now, the cool thing about this guy, we were also installing our physical readiness system, Carol, because they had a lot of injuries, so we were going to help them reduce those by everybody stretching every day, warming up. So this guy said, hey, Mark, you think I could be one of those physical readiness coaches? I was shocked. I said, sure. You want to be a coach? Really? You want to do our trainer? He said, I do. Everybody was shocked. Now, I think what happened that day, two things happened. One, he recognized that there's people with bigger problems than him. Two, he said to me, he said, Mark, he said, I live so bad. Do you think if I would live better, my attitude would improve? I said, no, I don't think that. I know that. Look, I got my fair share of problems right now, too. Would you agree? We all have problems in life. The challenge that we have is to take better care of yourself with the challenges you have instead of keep, doing whatever you may be doing that's not working for you. So what we want to do is graduate you to that next level. This training is called Life Enhancement, and it's designed to educate, motivate, and inspire you more than when you walked in here this morning. And here's the deal. I've seen too many things in my career where I've seen people suffer mentally, physically, emotionally, and there's a lot of broken stuff. Just what you witnessed on that video, that's horrible stuff, okay? And there's a lot of stuff out there that's not good. But at the end of the day, guys, you got one life to live, and you need to celebrate your life every day. Every day is a game day. So how many of you look at it like that? Life's like, hey, another game day at Amhof. When you see your coworkers, do you give them high fives, chest bumps, or you give them high fingers? What do you think, Tim? Different mindset. Yeah. Give them high fives and chest bumps. Okay, these are your team members. And if you think about your life, we spend so much time at work. How many hours a day do you work, Tim?
14.
How many hours do you sleep?
8.
That's good. You get 8 hours?
I get it.
Good for you. So you work 10, 12, 14 hours a day. You sleep about 6, 8, whatever you get. Would you agree the majority of your life is spent working and sleeping? Now, Al, congratulations. You're in retirement now. How's it feeling?
Great.
So you can do what you want with your time. And if you're healthy in retirement, you can hang in there for a long time. And how many people do you know that work, and then they're not here anymore? They just die shortly before or right after retirement. Okay? It happens to a lot of folks. Just since I've seen you, I could give you countless stories of industries that I'm in that many, many folks just in the 6 months, has it been 6 months?
Yeah.
From our last meeting, have
Yeah.
passed away. So, again, I'm here hopefully to uplift you guys a little bit, think a little differently about yourself. And at the end of the day, we need to enhance our life. And we connect it right to safety. So when we look at life at its best, isn't this what we want? Hanging out with your family, retirement, enjoying your spouse down, or whoever you're hanging out with at the beach, living this healthy lifestyle. This is what we all want. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't getting there. And with my experience, why I ask people, why should you care? So why should we care, Carol?
You know, that's a good question. And honestly, I think some people are just given that compassion or be able to relate to somebody. But at the end of the day, we should care because it's going to make everybody, it makes my life better. I feel better when I care about what's going on. I think that you guys do. I think that at the end of the day, if you don't care about what we just saw with human trafficking or what you're going to do with your lives or what you want to do with your, if you don't care now, when will you care so that you can have a good lifestyle like Al Burke's having?
And the thing about caring, I'm a caregiver. I grew up as a caregiver, worked in it for years, caring for people. I think it's better to care for you before you get sick. Would you agree with that? It's better to prevent or treat? How many people wait for treatment? Here's what happens with treatment. I worked in an ICU. Put your hand up. You ever been in an ICU? Intensive care unit. Would you agree if you go to the ICU, that's a pretty stressful place to go, visit a family member or a loved one. My father took his last breath in an ICU. Very, very challenging scenario every day in the ICU. And here's a nursing home with a very fragile patient. You know, as we age, we all know, we're not the same. We're changing, okay? Yeah, I'd sure like to do the stuff I did when I was a young kid back in the first quarter of life, but you know what? It's life. And would you agree your birthdays are coming quicker now? I mean, they come faster. So at the end of the day, you go, where did time go? And the time does go quick. And so I don't want to end up here, and I don't want to hang out in a hospital bed. What do you think one night in a hospital in the ICU costs? How much does that cost for an evening? That's about an $8,000 to $10,000 night. Now, if you had 8 to 10 grand to go on vacation, where would you go? You can go almost anywhere you want and have a good time, stay in a really nice hotel. So a lot of this stuff is preventable, some of it isn't. So when we look at human maintenance, now, if you guys remember, my take on wellness is it doesn't work. It works for well people. Would you agree? Carol's been preaching wellness how long now to the team here?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. And when you think about American wellness programs, I'm a big fan of wellness, don't get me wrong. I mean, I preach it, I live it, but I think we got to change the way we think about this. What I'm going to share today is human maintenance. If your truck, if you let your truck go, stop maintenance at Amhof, what happens to the company? Anybody here working maintenance? Hey, Doug, what happens to your company if you stop maintaining your fleet?
They probably would get mad at me.
Not just get mad at you, but what happens to the operation?
Goes down tubes,
Goes down the tubes. Would you agree maintenance is important to those trucks?
very much.
Do you think maintenance is important to you? Just remember, guys, you're the most complex machine on the planet as a human being. You're the most expensive machine in the world to fix. And at your age, you get damaged, you're the hardest machine on the planet to get back in full swing. We got to think differently about this. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We need human maintenance. Now, I worked in the NFL, as you guys know. I partnered now with some more guys in the NFL. We're doing stuff for all the head trauma now stuff going on. Working with Gus Farrat and Ray Lewis, some other players right now. What we're seeing is a lot of people are struggling, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living, stuff can happen to anybody. But what we do know is this, that if we look at this idea of human maintenance, maybe you might take yourself a little more serious. So right now, warranties, you know, you can buy a warranty on something, right, Carol? Go to Best Buy, buy a TV, buy an appliance. When you go to check out, how hard do they sell you on the warranty? You ever notice that? Hey, you want to get that warranty? And you think about it, might be a good idea. Extend the life of the product for 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. And you pay that extra money. They make more money on warranties than they do the product. What's the warranty on your life? When you showed up in the world, is there a warranty on you? There's no guarantees, right, guys? So what I saw in hospitals, my best friend died of cancer, 19 years old, superstar athlete. Changed my life. The only warranty you have is take care of yourself while you're here. That's it, okay? And that can extend your life. There's no doubt the way we live is going to drive a lot of stuff. So let's get our game face on. You know, being an athletic guy in sports medicine all these years, What's that mean to you? Get your game face on. Tim, what's that mean to you?
Get a little job and reach out every weekend.
Get a lube job. That sounds exciting. Is this your mechanic next to you? Get a lube job. Oh, Tim, that's a high five there, buddy. Okay. Wow, I want to hang out with you more often. I wasn't expecting that answer, but that's a good one. I like it, Tim. Well, if you think about that thought, get your game face on, in the world of sport, obviously you probably know what it means. You know what it means? You want to win. You want to win. It's all about winning, right? And don't you want to win your life? So Al, you hit retirement. Feeling pretty good? You're winning. Okay? Now you want to keep going. As long as you can. And he'll keep winning the game, you know? And that's what it's all about. Don't live in a nursing home. Don't hang out in a hospital. Enjoy your retirement like Al is. Now you're winning. That's what we all want to strive for. So when we look at this, as we learn by example, you know, we promote flexibility. When you go to a truck stop, how many drivers are outside their trucks stretching, warming up? Yeah. There's a song by Supertramp called Silly Dreamer. That might be your theme song, right? Here's the deal. If we could create a movement, this is what we're trying to do on our radio show, is try to engage drivers to start thinking differently about the reality of, this is not well, it's just maintenance. This is part of the maintenance. Would you agree? If you're more flexible and limber and you feel good in and out of that truck, I mean, why wouldn't you, like Carol, you made a very good point. Give me one reason why you want to take care of yourself. And our one buddy back there, Larry the cable guy, he disappeared.
Cigarette.
He went out to have a smoke.
Yeah.
He says, I heard him say, I'm old. I don't want to do it. And that's one of the hurdles to take care of yourself. But we learn by example. We're also, would you agree that we're visual learners? People do what they see. If you see your colleagues taking care of themselves, you see them getting outcomes and results and all the stuff Carol's throwing at you, it starts to stick. You know, how do you make it sticky? That's the hard thing, isn't it, Randy? How do you make this stuff stick? Because human beings have the choice to do what they want. And it's, you know, if you're caught up in the rut of not knowing what you should do, it's hard to get out of it. Now, we are also verbal people. Like when I told you that story out of the gate, verbally, those guys were horrible. The way they were treating each other, the language, the way they acted. I mean, their morale was in the toilet. It wasn't the toilet. It was really awful. So we want to bring people up and not always bring them down. Here's the thing. You watch the news. You enjoy it? Would you agree we're in a negative world? Somehow, because our work life is consuming the majority of our life, we need to make that work life better. And I can tell you this, there's no other way to do it than purely take care of yourself every single day. And it's hard to quit these old behaviors, isn't it? If you are a smoker and you drink too much, whatever it is, it's really hard to change. The good news is, even with addicts, you know, I got addicts that run in my family. Anybody deal with an addict? It's horrible. It's horrible, okay? Whether it's alcohol, opioids, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll share a story about somebody hooked on something so weird it might make you sick. Well, I'm going to tell you here today. So we're verbal people, though. What's that?
I said, thanks. It might make me sick.
It could. Yeah, I told a story the other day, and somebody said, oh my God. It's a true story, though. So we learn by, and then together, would you agree, people are safer, more productive, and we feel good?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's studies to prove, guys, if you take care of yourself, you're safer, you're healthier, you don't get hurt as much, you know, your accidents are down. It's all connected. So let's integrate your lifestyle to your safety. That's what we're going to do. So would you agree the ultimate goal is healthy and safe every day? Carol, that's why you're here.
That's exactly
Now,
what I'm hearing.
look what I had here. I said healthy and safe. And maybe you come home safe, you didn't have an accident, that's good, but you're healthy on the journey to get home. And we got to look at the opportunity to retire healthy. So, now, not to pick on you, but you feeling pretty healthy? Yeah, tell me about what's your day like now that when since you're retired?
I get up and go across the street and settle all the world problems to all the old guys. I'm the oldest one there.
So you go have a huddle with your buddies.
And then I walk about 2 miles.
Good for you. You have a huddle with the buddies, have a little breakfast, a little coffee, hang out.
Yeah,
Then you walk a couple miles.
yeah. Then I play golf twice a week.
play golf a couple times, so you're enjoying your time.
And I work with this human trafficking.
That's great. I'm glad. That's good. So you got purpose in life. That's excellent, and that's what we want to try to do. And so when we look at the injuries and as we age, and I'm going to just remind you about the 4 quarters of life, just to kind of keep you in the game with this. So when you were young, would you agree you were resilient? How resilient were you when you were a kid? Think of the craziest things you did when you were young. Well, if you did that now, what would happen to you? Does anybody have a story of something really crazy you did, maybe physically or maybe a party like a rock star? Dave, were you a wild man back in the day?
I was known to have my adventures.
Yeah, you look like a bit of a wild child. Still is. But you can't do what you did before.
Not quite as well.
If you did, yeah. We all know the effects. So we're very resilient when we're young. Would you agree when you were young, your birthdays went slow? So that's the first quarter. And anybody here have children in that first quarter of life? Or grandkids? So I got an 18-month-old living at my house right now. Talk about a game changer. Yeah. Since I've seen you, my life has really changed. It's my grandson. And I'm enjoying him, and I'm really dialing in on what little kids can do. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? Yeah. And when I change his diapers, he's so limber. I will take his leg and crank it over his head. Now he pees on me every now and then. Yeah, they squirt a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. But he giggles. He laughs. He thinks it's fun. If we did that to your man right now, if you didn't go to get lubed up first, how would that
There'd be no leg over his head.
go? There'd be-
Pay for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just call him Mr. Jiffy Lube. All right, Jiffy Tim. But anyway, we all know that. Now, soft tissue injuries. We've all been there, done that. Sprains, strains. You seen any of those, Carol? Sprains and strains?
I see him every day.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why we have sprains and strains in the second quarter of life. Anybody in the second quarter here? 21 to 39, by the way. How you doing, buddy?
Straight.
You all right? Life's changed a little bit, didn't it? Second quarter from the first? Yeah. Hey, here's the deal, guys. Every one of you stretched or warmed up in the first quarter of life. You did it in gym class. If you played organized sports. Would you ever send the athlete to the field with a coffee, a donut, and a smoke? That's pregame. That'd be pretty interesting to see. No, they're warming up their minds and their bodies. They're getting engaged, all right? And that second quarter of life, you might see that. And then here, halftime, injured reserve. Anybody in halftime right now? 40, 41? You're in halftime?
No, I'll tell you about
I say, you better stay after class. I'm getting on my game plan, my brother. Now you have a lost time injury. You ever see those, Carol? People when they stay out of work for a while?
Yes, we see those. Yeah.
This is what this illustrates. The severity is going up. We all know that. A 50-year-old back injury and a 10-year-old back injury or 20-year-old back injury are different ball games, buddy. Now, we all know that, so we don't want to get hurt because it's going to take longer to recover. And now here it's season-ending injury. So whatever you do, no falls. How many of you know a senior that's having a fall? Family member, a loved one that's fallen in their senior years. Okay? Is that your spouse or coworker?
Both.
Their team.
Oh, your team. Oh, good. So my mom's 89. She's had 3 falls. Each one got more severe. She's permanently damaged now from that last fall she took. I told her, I said, Mom, you have one more. At your age, it's game over. And she knows it. So now she's in a retirement community. Her head's good, but her body's not. Season ending, debilitating, game over. So when we use the sports analogy of life and aging, this is just to reinforce, the first time I was here, we focused on this game plan idea. Now we got to take it serious because sometimes it takes multiple times before somebody will make some sort of positive change. It's easy to make negative changes, isn't it? It's easy to go in reverse, and it's so much harder to go forward sometimes. But I will tell you this, I've seen a lot of testimonial stories of people that have made changes as they've gotten older. And they feel better. And again, I'm going to keep working with Al here because he's my wingman today. Keep taking care of you. You can really have a good time the rest of your life. All right, so we're going to rank your lifestyle. Do they have the handouts today?
Yeah, I have them. I get them out to you.
Okay, not that you need these right now, but we're going to dial in on this lifestyle stuff. And here's the difference between wellness and lifestyle management. Lifestyle management, in my opinion, is more of the human maintenance. The machine needs to be maintained from the head to the toes. And sometimes we kind of take ourselves for granted. Anybody ever take yourself for granted? Well, another day, got a pulse, got a paycheck, back to work. Same old stuff, different day. And have you ever gotten complacent with your life? Anybody here ever get complacent? Same old stuff, different day? Would you agree it's easy to do? No, he had his hand up, Jim. Yeah. And the complacency of life is easy to get caught up in, because I will tell you this, and you guys know this too. If you stay complacent and you don't change anything in your life, and you don't live better, Randy, does aging get better or worse if you don't turn the game around?
Well, it just depends what it's talking about. Aging gets worse as far as your aches and pains. And,
Right.
You know, but then with aging, you enjoy things better. Some of them, you know, there's pluses and minuses, but the minuses usually overwhelm the pluses.
Yeah, so most people are losing a little momentum as they get older. Anybody here in that category? Are you gaining or losing momentum every year you have a birthday? Meaning, do you have more energy this year than last year? Is your attitude better this year than last year? Do you have less aches and pains this year than last year? Okay? So depending on what you're saying or thinking, you know, there's a reason for it. So give yourself a score. The first one we're going to talk about is motivation, because you know what? It is a hard job to get people motivated. Put your hand up if you ever tried to motivate somebody in your life. Co-worker, spouse, friend, family. How'd it go?
It's tough.
It's tough. Dean, right? It's tough. And who'd you try to motivate?
I have another job that I have supervised for about 28.
So you try to motivate those guys. How's it going? Pretty tough, isn't it? Carol, you've been trying to motivate these guys, right?
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Is
They're
it
all
working?
here.
She doesn't lie much.
Yeah. But when you think about motivated, what's it going to take you to get motivated to take good care of yourself? What do you think the number one motivator is for everybody in this room? Money. Would you agree? Would you be sitting here right now if it wasn't work related? No. You're here for money. And so money is what it's all about at the end of the day when it comes to work. So let's talk about some things that motivate. Our family, money, relationships. Okay, I'm going to put all these up because these are all motivators. Now, when you think about your own personal motivation, I can share some stories with you on this too. I had a patient years ago that I worked with when I was in the hospital environment that the guy got lung cancer. He was a heavy smoker, had other issues, went through chemo, radiation, and had surgery. Actually removed a portion of his lung. And I was walking to the hospital, and he was smoking out of a trach. I said, "What are you doing? Didn't you have a wake-up call? Weren't you motivated to change?" He goes, "Man, I was jonesing for a cigarette. It's the only way I can get it in right now." It's hard to change people. But I do know this, that something deep down has to get you motivated to the next level. And maybe, I don't know what it is, but everybody here is different. I've seen people react different to certain things and circumstances. But I do know that our relationships can bring us up or bring us down, just like that morale story. A lot of relationship with those guys and negative people bringing them down. So we need to help our team members. And my recommendation is, with all the Carol's trying to do here and the company's doing for you, is you guys band together, and support each other. We started a support group many years ago on a radio show. It's called Drivers with a Cause. Anybody remember that? We had a group of drivers that got out there. They were on a mission. And these are over-the-road drivers, okay? That they wanted to help their fellow drivers to live better out there. And they had a support group, okay? To make that happen with all those relationships they had. That's something you might want to consider. But how about this, the fear factor? Anybody here ever have fear? I saw this every day when I worked in the hospital, when I worked in the ER, when I worked in the ICU, the children's cancer wing. The fear factor is on high. Nursing homes, fear. Why do you want to live in fear? A lot of people do. And when you're living in fear, guess what? You're going to have anxiety. You're going to start to worry. And all that stuff adds up. And then people become depressed and everything else that's associated with it. So all these are things to get you motivated. Some of this stuff is in your hand up, but I do notice when we're not motivated, safety loses momentum. Would you agree with that, Ray?
Yes.
So how do we lift our people up? What do we got to do to make it happen? Okay, I think having meetings like this, hopefully you find benefit in it. And it's real stuff, guys. I mean, this is all about reality, you know. So we need to get motivated. So I think it's important. This one, let's spell it's nutrition. Now, here's the thing. I've written several books, as you guys know. I talk about this subject a lot. I went to school for this and got educated in it. Everybody knows what you should or shouldn't eat. Would you agree? There's not one person in this room that does not know what or what not to eat. No, I shouldn't eat those donuts. No, I shouldn't eat fried food. No, I shouldn't drink all the soda. We know these things, right? So why do people do what they do? Pretty tough to change. You know why you do what you do? Physiology tells us everybody in this room is a craving creature. Whatever you do yourself is what you crave. Not to pick on your Mountain Dews. How many of those you drink a day, buddy?
Actually, one.
That's pretty good. I've got a guy right now I'm working with. He drinks 2 6-packs of 20-ounce bottles a day on average. 2 6-packs of those a day.
How much does he twitch?
He's so immune to caffeine, he needs to drink a bottle of that to go to bed.
Damn.
Now this guy, and he's an educated guy. He's actually like a VP in a company. He's hooked on it. He said he had to go to rehab for Mountain Dew. I'm going to tell you how powerful food is, and beverages, and you know, alcohol, all this stuff, opioids, all this stuff is all, it's all based on physiology and what you crave. So here's the thing. It says, what are we craving? High test, low test, or sludge? So I was giving a seminar. I give a lot of talks. I give about 100 plus talks a year, and I asked this one guy, he was very deconditioned. I said, look, buddy, if you owned a Lamborghini, what kind of fuel would you put into that machine? He said, well, if I owned a Lamborghini, I would put, what do you think he said? What kind of fuel would you put in a Lamborghini? He said, I would put the highest octane fuel I could purchase. If I can afford the car and I can afford that gas. I said, you're absolutely right, you would. What do you put into your machine, your human machine? High test, low test, or sludge? He honestly said this. Sludge. Give me an example of your diet. I love fast food, man. Eat it all the time. I love donuts. I love all the stuff we all love. I said, how do you feel? Like crap. Okay? Would you agree? Whatever you do to yourself is how you feel. So how do you change your eating habits? That's one of the hardest things we have to do. So here's one for you. I don't think I shared this last time in this video. I've seen a lot of weird behaviors with food, but the worst one I've seen. So I was working with this cop. This police officer got very, very heavy. He did a lot of radar gun duty, okay? Sitting around a lot, not moving. He got bored. Now, this guy had a lot of weaknesses with food. So he gained a lot of weight. He was about 400 pounds. And the chief of police said, you can't be a cop anymore because you're not fit to be a cop. You either got to drop this weight, get yourself in condition, or we're going to give you a desk job, or you know, we just can't keep you. He said, all right, well, I'm going to try to fix my lifestyle. So this dude comes to me. His name is Barry. I met him years ago. He said, Mark, can you help me out? I got to drop some weight, got to get in shape. I said, yeah, I'll help you out there, buddy. I said, first thing we're going to do is let's figure out your food. What you eating? I eat terrible. I said, okay, give me an example. Well, I got some problems. I said, what's your biggest weakness with food? And guess what he said? Mayonnaise. I said, mayonnaise. Okay, let's get you on some mustard. He goes, oh, you don't understand. I got a big problem with mayonnaise. I said, how big can it be? Oh, it's bad. I'm embarrassed to say, but I'm struggling with mayonnaise. Now, I've heard a lot of behaviors. Never heard this one before. I said, well, give me an example. He said, well, come out to my cop car. I'm going to show you. I didn't eat my lunch yet. I'm going to show you what I pack. So he has this big igloo cooler in his cop car, okay, on the front seat. Opens this thing up. The first thing he pulls out was this gigantic sandwich. Like it looked like, remember, Dagwood, this huge sandwich that had salami and cheese and ham and all the worst lunch meat in the world you could put between 2 pieces of bread. It was in that sandwich. On top of that, there was all this mayonnaise blowing all over. I said, oh, dude, that's horrible for you. He said, yeah, but it sure tastes good. He said, well, I'm not done yet. The next thing he pulls out Well, some Tasty Cakes. Anybody know Tasty Cakes? You ever hear of those? They're big in Pennsylvania.
It's out east though.
Yeah, it's about east. Philadelphia, yeah. Tasty Cakes. They're not called crappy cakes, so you wouldn't buy them, right? They're tasty. He has 2 packs of Tasty Cakes. He had a thing of Fritos. He had nothing healthy in there. But at the end, he's wrestling around in the jar. I heard ice. He packed a jar of mayonnaise, a big one that he got from Costco. I said, what are you doing with that? Remember I just said I had a problem with mayonnaise? Yeah? Well, I'm going to show you. Straight up, baby. Gets a big spoon, undoes it, and starts eating out of the jar. Now, I, as a kid, I never liked mayonnaise. I'm a mustard guy, you know. I just never liked mayonnaise. Now, how gross is that? And I don't mean to gross you out. That's the story I was in. That's very gross. I said, dude, wait a minute. I said, that's sick. I said, that's sick. I said, well, how much of this would you eat? He said, I've been known to polish off a whole jar in a shift if I'm bored. A whole jar this big? I said, he said, because he said, this is why. I'm going to tell you why. He said, I'm hooked on mayonnaise. I said, how do you get hooked on mayonnaise? He said, I'm going to tell you how I got hooked on mayonnaise. When I was a kid growing up in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, any of you ever been through Hazleton, PA? It's kind of a cool cracker town. A lot of strange things happen in Hazleton, including mayonnaise, I guess. He said, my mom put mayonnaise on everything. I dipped my broccoli in it. You know, I just always ate mayonnaise. One day I just decided I'm going to pack a jar. And I started eating right out of the jar. And now I can't stop. He said, my wife wants to divorce me over the mayonnaise. It wasn't alcohol. Never heard a behavior like that in my entire career. He said, how do I get off the mayonnaise? I said, oh, dude, you need more help than I can give you. I said, you need some psychological help, number one. Number two is, just cut back, try to cut back. So he said, well, what if I went to light mayonnaise? I said, well, what if I do Miracle Whip? Yeah. Make a long story short, the guy didn't make it much longer, and he did pass away. His arteries were so clogged up, and he was only in his early 50s, okay, and he didn't make it. So we are what we crave, guys, and the thing is, you got to change your cravings, and how are you going to do that? You got to discipline yourself to do it. It's hard to do it. So think about what you're putting into the machine. So why do we eat unhealthy? Would you agree? We like quick, convenient stuff. Think about food in America. Who invented fast food? America. Who invented junk food? America. Who invented processed food? America. Who invented soda? America. Who invented energy drinks? America. Convenience stores. Now, when I grew up, I'm 57. Some of you guys might be older or younger than me. When I grew up as a kid, we had gas stations. Anybody remember a gas station? Tim, do you remember those? That's when you got your lube job there and you got your wipers there. What's your name? Cheryl. How long have you been with this guy? 10 years. How's it going? Good. It wasn't very convincing, but I'm glad you said it. And now we got these convenience stores, and you know who cracked the code on that? Who created the convenience store? 7-Eleven. Okay? They figured out, wait, if we get them for gas, we can get them from other stuff. And now they're everywhere. Would you agree? I heard the largest truck stop on the planet is right down the road here.
Yeah, that is.
What all's in there? A lot of conveniences in there, right?
Oh, gotcha.
See, we like that stuff, okay? Who invented buffets?
Truck stop.
Truck stops. America, our country. One price, all you can eat. It's like a food trough. Hey, go get this. I met this lady. She went out to Vegas. Now, all the hotels in Vegas now have all-day buffets. Have you seen that? It's like Disneyland for food. So you get a wristband when you check in. Would you like to buy the all-day pass to the buffet? And actually, when you break it down, it's a pretty darn good deal. Okay, compared to going out to restaurants. Yeah. So this lady and her husband went out for a long weekend to Vegas from Pennsylvania, and I was giving a seminar at one of my spots, and she goes, oh, I can relate to that. We went out to Vegas, my husband and I, we bought that all-day pass for 3 days straight. I said, how'd that go? Well, good and bad. Good, there was a lot of good food. Bad, because all we did was eat. We never went to the shows. We never did what we really do. I gained 5 pounds. We were so sluggish, we took naps the whole time and never really experienced Vegas the way we wanted to. I said, well, why would you do that? You know what she said? We want to get our money's worth. Isn't that crazy? That's people. That's human behavior. So at the end of the day, we got to do this. All right. Now you can't change anybody's eating habits. You got to work on it. This is one of the hardest things for us to change. So think about your cravings. Joe, what's your biggest craving with food or beverage? You have something in particular?
No, I've really changed my diet a lot. Cut out soda pop, a lot more vegetables.
You feeling better?
Yeah, feeling better.
So you said he's feeling better. Anybody else change any eating habits lately? What'd you change?
I found out I had high cholesterol, so I changed up most of, eat a lot of fish.
So you're eating healthier?
Changed my snacking, eat almonds. Eat
That's
green
good.
food.
And well, here's what we see with people. It takes a diagnosis sometimes to change, doesn't it?
Right.
Well, you got 3 blocked arteries, or whatever. You have cholesterol, you have blood pressure. You know, you're diabetic or whatever it is. Oh, now I got to change. Why would you want to wait to get diagnosed and change? You know, food can be your ally or your enemy. In America, to be honest with you, it's the enemy for a lot of people. So I challenge you, change your cravings. If you can change your cravings, you're probably starting to see it now. It starts to shift. You'll be better off. So everybody knows this stuff. I'm not going to bore you with this, but I do know this, that if you start dialing in every single day, challenge yourself. If you can challenge yourself to start making these changes, you can do it. But if you don't, it's not going to change at all. So I don't want to offend anybody's weight here, but this is a crazy statistic. We're almost about 7 billion people in the world. How many of you know this, that 80% of the world's obesity comes from America? We control, we're number 1 at something, and it's weight. Hey, why? Because it's our culture. We did it to ourselves. You know, we did it to ourselves because we created all the bad stuff to put into the human machine. So again, when our team members are deconditioned and we're not eating right, it affects your energy. If you eat right, would you agree? It can fuel your energy. If you eat wrong, it'll put you to sleep. So you guys need to have energy out there on the road. And how many people rely on energy drinks right now? Oh my God, I did a radio show a couple weeks ago on sleep and fatigue and energy. Guy calls me up, Mark, I drink 8 monsters a day out here. 8 monsters a day. And they're big, a little high. I said, and I can't sleep. Well, duh. You know what he says? He said, well, I thought they were good for me. They got B vitamins in them. I'm here, dude. Do you realize the B vitamins are so minuscule in those? Those are synthetic beverages to try to jack you up. And some people mix them with booze. Have you seen that, Tim? Anybody here do that one? Oh my gosh, is that ridiculous?
I never did that.
That was not very convincing.
It was a long time ago. Okay, it was before I knew.
So I never even heard about these drinks. And then my daughter, this is years ago, when she turned 21, she goes, we had an adult party for it. So the kids were coming in. I didn't card everybody, but I hope they were old enough to drink. And this kid brings his own igloo cooler in, and he goes, hey, Mr. Everest, let's do a Jägerbomber. Never even heard of it. I said, what is it? Red Bull and Jägermeister mixed together. I said, what is it? He says it again. I said, that's a crazy drink. I said, why would you do that? He said, I love it. My favorite drink. I said, why is that? So I have a physiology. I said, wait a minute. The Red Bull's going to jack you up. The booze is going to bring you down. He goes, that's right. That's exactly right. I said, well, why do you do it? He goes, I get up, I get down, you know where I go? I'll go in the zone, and I'm getting neutralized. Do you want to go out and get neutralized a little later? We used to call it happy hour. Now let's all go get neutralized. I don't think so. I said, my friend, how many of these would you drink? He said, as many as I can. He's 21 years old. I'm telling you, Big Al, you do that, 911. All right? You can't do it. So we do crazy stuff. So at the end of the day, we're craving creatures. We need to start thinking about it. The next one we're going to talk about is sleep. Now, we all know sleep is a big deal, okay? And I don't sleep as good as I used to. Has your sleep patterns changed since you've gotten older? The idea of sleeping like a baby, typically when you're a baby. You know? And not all babies sleep that great either, because I got one in my house. Some days he does, some days he doesn't. And that's affected my sleep. So sleep, we all know it. It's a big part of your industry. And you know, how do you get better sleep? Well, you know, your diet can affect your sleep. I met a driver who said, Mark, I don't eat all day, but when I get to the truck stop at the end of the day, I load up. I'm so hungry, and then I bunk down, and I can't go to sleep. I said, so you save up all your calories for the end of the day, you load them all up. Of course you're not going to sleep. Our bodies function better on sleep when we're not, bellies aren't so full. We're trying to digest that food. Anybody ever get caught up in that? Work, 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 so hungry, you get to the truck stop or where we go eat, load yourself up, you're so hungry, and then you wrestle with sleep. So there's a lot of natural ways to get better sleep. So sleep is essential. We all need it. The question is, are you getting enough quality sleep? Al, do you sleep straight out, 8 straight through?
Well, I'm up a couple times during the night. 7 to 8 hours, pretty much every day.
That's good. Anybody here get less than 4 to 6 hours a day? Well, keep drinking those Mountain Dews.
I know.
No. How many hours you get, buddy?
I get anywhere from 4.5 to 5 to 6.
I've seen your e-logs.
You've seen my emails, but that don't always mean I'm in the book.
He sleeps 14 and works 10.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
I stop, I'm so wired, I can't.
You can't shut down. Yeah. Anybody here have a hard time shutting their brains down at night? Or whenever you go to bed?
Thanks, Molly.
Or minds, yeah. You have a hard time with that too? Yeah. You know, what happens sometimes when we have idle time is when our brains fire sometimes. You know, I get caught up in that too. You know, and does anybody here worry at night? You know, you go to bed and then you start thinking about, then you start thinking about it too much. And it's hard to change that. So, when it comes to sleep and fatigue, we all know how many hours we should get. The question is, what's the quality of the sleep we're getting? And mine, some days is better than others, depending on what's going on in my life. But stress is going to make your sleep go downward. Would you agree? If you go to bed all stressed out, how do you sleep that night? Or that day? You don't sleep well. And then when you don't get sleep over the course of time, it starts affecting you to a point where you can't function properly. And we all know that. So when we look at our rhythms, you might be familiar with this. If everybody in a perfect world would go to bed every night at 10 p.m., wake up at 6 a.m., and never miss a beat, like clockwork, chances are everybody in this room would sleep really well. Well, that's not real, is it? Your schedules change. Everything changes. Your thought processes change. Sleep can be different day to day. If you're lucky enough that you hit the pillow and you're out for 6 to 8, you're a rare breed, okay? Because it's not happening to most adults. But when those rhythms are all messed up, it's going to mess your sleep. So you want to try to keep them somewhat in sync. And I know it's hard in your industry to do that. So think about your rhythms and think about your sleeping patterns. And we have a lot of content too to help with sleep. So if you ever need more stuff on sleep, we have tons of content to help you with this. So we all agree. Would you agree that sleepy people aren't safe? We all know that. That's why the DOT, that's why it's highly regulated. And in your industry, it is in many industries. I meet a lot of sleepy people out there. I just spoke in Minnesota 2 weeks ago, and this was a 24/7 operation. These people were so fatigued and so, I mean, it was horrible. They had a terrible accident, I mean, manufacturing company, but just a terrible safety performance because so many people were sleeping. Now, we all know we should work out, right? Now, everybody says, I don't have time to work out. Would you agree? That's the number one reason why we don't work out. Time. Too busy. When are you going to plug it in? Does anybody here work out on a regular basis, 3 to 5 days a week? You do?
I walk at least 30 minutes a day, and a friend of my son's who's a physical therapist, because I had a neck injury,
Yeah.
surgery, and I have a nerve problem in my neck.
Yep.
So I can't do weights and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he told me to get this thing called a body blade,
Yep. I'm familiar.
and I started working with that about 3 weeks ago.
Good. Good for you. Well, keep it going. You exercise?
Yeah, I walk about a mile a day and work with the free weights.
Good. How do you plug that into your schedule?
First thing in the morning.
So before, what time you start your day?
Sometimes I get to work at 6 o'clock. I probably start at 4:30.
So you start working out that early?
Yeah,
Good for you. Make you feel better?
definitely.
You notice a difference when you don't do it. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Energy is driven by movement. Okay? The body's designed to move. You know, most Americans don't move enough. It's one of the reasons why we don't live as long as other nations. You know the oldest people in the world? You know where they are? They're not in this country. I read a book called The Blue Zones. Very interesting book. You might want to pick it up. The Blue Zones.
Probably the Amish.
Yeah, no, it's not the Amish. I don't know have a stat on the Amish, but the Blue Zones is a guy that used to write for National Geographic, and he really got into the whole aging thing, and that's kind of my thing too. And he traveled the world and said, "Where are the oldest people in the world?" And there's 10 blue zones in the world where people are living 100 plus, average, not here in this country.
They're not truck drivers, are they?
And they're not truck drivers, no. But the oldest people in the world are the Hunzais. You ever hear of the Hunzais? Hunzas. Check these people out. Average lifespan, 120 to 140. That's like biblical times. That's average. Women are conceiving in their 70s and early 80s. That's crazy, Carol. Could you imagine? That's exciting. There you go, Jiffy Lube. There you go. There's hope for you. You got a new nickname now. You did that yourself, not me. And here's the cool thing about the Hunzais. I was fascinated by their culture. Well, first of all, you would think that these cultures that live that long, they're doing things that we don't do. First of all, they eat out of the earth, okay? They move their bodies until they die, okay? They work, okay? And, but the really interesting thing was the way that they think. They talked about the way they think. So here's how they think. Now, their culture is totally different than ours, and we don't think like this. Yesterday's gone, whether it was good, bad, or different, doesn't matter. See you later, get rid of it. And don't bring it back either. Even if you won the Super Bowl, you'd like to relive that every day, wouldn't you? But it's gone. It's a good memory.
It was a good Super Bowl.
It was a great Super Bowl last year. And don't push till tomorrow. It didn't show up yet. Okay, so why would you want to worry about tomorrow when it's not even here yet? Anybody ever worry about tomorrow? You think about your schedule, you think about what you got going on, and we get caught up on what happened yesterday, may have been a bad day. I'm uncertain about tomorrow, and that's why it will interrupt your sleep. So here's what they do. And you might have heard this is kind of a philosophy now that, and I'm trying to live like this too, is live in the moment. Live in your moments. Would you agree? You don't have no idea how many moments you're going to have in life. Now, if you're lucky to have enough moments, we're going to live to be 80 plus years old right now. Or longer, if you're lucky enough. So if we can start living in our moments and not get caught up in the past or push to tomorrow, here's what you're going to notice. And I'm starting to feel, I'm really challenging myself to do this, Carol, because I've been through some challenges, and when you're through stressful times, you got to cherish those moments, okay? So right now, we're having a moment. And I hope the moment's good for you. It's good for me. I'm glad to be back here with you guys. And let's live like that because, this movement part of our life, it has to be a moment that we do daily. At the very least, create some moments every day in your life to get up and either walk, stretch, or do something. Because if you don't, what's going to happen to the human machine? It's going down. The people that live so long are moving until they die. How many seniors you know, they work, they stop moving, and then they go down quick. You want to gain momentum, guys. Don't lose the momentum. So we need all this stuff. Now, I know guys that go to the gym. We call these mirror muscles. You ever see these dudes? They get in front of the mirror. You ever see that Geico commercial? Those guys just growing curls. Yeah, Carol knows. They're flexing in the mirror. You ever see these dudes? So this is true. I got two guys that go to this one gym, this Gold's Gym back where I live. And there's two young guys. This is them, okay? They get in front of the mirror, and all they do is curls. As we would say, curls for the girls, Tim. Just curls. And they're looking at each other, and they're like, ooh. Then they do a little pose here, a little pose there. And these guys got a reputation in the gym. That's all they do. And I'm looking at their biceps developing, and nothing else seems to be developing. Their legs are very skinny. They got good biceps, and they don't do any cardio. And I noticed that these two dudes have little pea heads. Isn't that weird? Why would you do that? You got to train it all. So at the end of the day, we need everything to be healthy and fit. And flexibility is something you can do every day. So we all know we need to get moving. All right, and it's hard as a driver because you're trapped in a tractor trailer. Anybody here over the road? Is everybody here over the road? How many days a week you out?
4.
4? And when you stop at a truck stop, do you get out and move around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Park as far away from the restaurant as I can.
Yeah, this is the biggest challenge I hear in my radio show is I don't move enough. Okay, I want to, but I got to get to my destination. I got a little bit of time to stop, and kind of refuel and try to get something to eat and do all this stuff. That's the time where you're going to have to plug it in. And like you're doing, first thing in the morning, if you can discipline yourself to do it that early. That's when I do it, is early in the morning. Because if I don't do it in the morning, I'm screwed. So we got to get moving. Physical work and exercise are two different things. And your heart's a muscle, get the blood going. And here's what I know. If you're not fit for duty, would you agree, Carol, injuries and accidents are going up? It's all connected, guys. Okay? And as hard as it is for you, and this is the number one thing I hear on my radio show, is how do I make time to exercise? And I just say to them, well, look, if you keep trying to find the time to exercise, you will not do it. And when you make the time, we all know, right? You got it. Would you agree? Everything you make time for in your life, you have. And anything we try to find time for in life, we seem to it escapes. So you got to make time for you, because are you worth the time? And this is where I see people in my career over the years say, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, all those years take care of myself, but I didn't. And now I'm in a situation where my circumstances are not comfortable. I'm in a hospital bed, end up in a nursing home, and that's what we don't want. So take this stuff serious, guys, because this is all part of the plan of being a road athlete. Here's a couple exercise gurus. I think I shared my Jack Lane story with you last time. Now, we're not Jack Lanes in this room, but these people have made a living kind of taking care of themselves. They're examples. I'm not saying this is us, because this is not what we do, but you can learn from these folks. And I do know that the people that have good lifestyles historically will live longer, even with bad genetics. Now, there are people that have bad genetics that live right that still die young. There's no guarantees. Remember Jim Fixx wrote the best-selling book on running? He's out there running in his 50s. Boop, he dropped over. Gone, heart attack. But here's the thing about Jim Fixx. He ran with heart disease. All those years, it actually prolonged his life by about 5 to 10 years, they estimated, because everybody else was dying prematurely. So the body's designed to move. The longer we move it, the longer it lives. Anybody here got stress? No, serious, we all got some stress, right? Now let's think about, how do we get rid of this stress? What do you do to get rid of your stress? Say you had a really bad day. What do you do to get rid of it? Little meditation, that's good. Joe, what do you do for stress?
Phase it out.
Phase it out?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Don't think about it. Move on to the next positive thing and try not to reflect back on it.
Very good. Live in the moment. That's good. What do you do for stress?
Paint my wife's name on my golf ball and smack it.
Where's your wife?
I wouldn't say that behind her back, I wouldn't say it to her face.
Right.
How do you handle the stress?
No. That's why I'm great.
You give it away.
No, I'm great.
Keep it in. You got to get rid of that stress. That's a good response, though. You paint a picture, you smack the golf ball. Oh, that's a good one. Anybody else got a remedy for stress?
Exercise.
Who said that one?
Hey,
How often do you do it?
every day,
Good for you.
every other day.
Makes a difference, doesn't it? It is still the best remedy known to mankind, is to work out, exercise. Why do you think it's so good? Why is that the best remedy to get rid of stress? I mean, meditation's good, and reading a book or hobbies, they're all good. Yeah, it's the endorphins. It's the chemical reaction of exercise. Have you ever seen a brain on exercise and a brain scan? I did. I went to the Amen Clinic. Now, Dr. Amen is the brain guy, and we're doing more of this stuff now with the NFL. You can see brains that are lit up on exercise. It's like the dopamine, the serotonin of the brain. It's so good for your brain. And did you know it's the #1 remedy to prevent Alzheimer's and dementia? That should be motivation enough right there to get involved and start taking better care of yourself. Because does anybody in this room know anybody as they age, they picked up that horrible disease? Okay? Alzheimer and dementia. And would you agree? That's a sad
The
business.
person I got to see go through it was Wally Hildenberg, who played for the Vikings. He donated his brain to the University of Iowa because he died of Alzheimer's. And they said he had what they called CTE.
Yeah, it's from the, yeah.
To watch a man, when I first met him, who was 6'5" and went about 260, And when I talked to one of his kids the last time, they said when his dad passed away, he was probably 140 pounds.
Yeah, you're a widow away. It's very sad.
Yep.
So we want to prevent that. So we got to think of how things are going to get us motivated. You know, don't just think about today. When you do think about tomorrow, think about if you don't change anything in your life and you stay exactly the same you are today, you got to think about where am I going to be like in 3, 5, 10 years if you're still here. If you are going to be here, and hopefully you all are, you got to think about that. So stress, we got to get rid of the stress, and that's why I exercise first thing in the morning. I want to get rid of my stress before my day even starts. Okay. So you guys got choices for stress to get rid of them. So here's some causes of stress. Would you agree all this stuff is driving stress? And guess what all that stuff is? Life. It's life. Life can get us stressed. That's why I don't tune into the news anymore. You know? It's just a bundle of stress. All the slamming and bashing and this and that. And I'm going to start a new network called the PNN. That's the Positive Network News. Would anybody dial in? Would anybody tune in? Are we so used to negative stuff all the time? We're getting bombarded by it. And that's creating stress too. I even see kids now that are all stressed out. When I was a kid, I never had stress. When I was a kid, I just had fun. Now kids are stressed out. Kids are taking anxiety meds. Did you know that mental illness in America, there's more of that going on. You can take heart disease, strokes, cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, all combined, and mental health outweighs all those diseases put together. The challenge is, you know, I bet you everybody in this room knows somebody struggling from a stress-related illness in their mind. Anybody know anybody with anxiety?
Yeah, Carol.
Yeah, the way she was this morning, she was a little anxious when I came in here. Yeah, you were scaring me, Carol.
I get nervous.
Well, don't get nervous. You do a great job. Here's the thing. Stress is a silent killer. And the problem is a lot of us just don't manage it. We know it's there. And how many people do bad things when they're stressed? Anybody crave more nicotine? Okay, when they're stressed. People smoke more under stress. People drink more booze under stress. I spoke for Miller Brewing Company a few years back. They said, Mark, we love stress in America. I said, why is that? We sell more beer. When there's negative news, our beer sales go up through the roof. Okay? But all this stuff is driving stress, guys, and we got to get rid of it. So here's some remedies. You guys said it. Exercise, deep breathing, meditate, take a break. How hard is it to think positive when you're stressed? Isn't it tough? You know why it's so hard to think positive when you're stressed? Because your mind is under stress. If you can really do what you just said you did, are you good at it? Getting your mind off it?
Off and on.
Are you married?
No kids, no wife.
No, you're not stressed. No kids, no wife. Dude, you're kidding me? You're the wrong guy to ask about stress. How about you two? You got a little stress? Moderate. Yeah, that's good. But when you're thinking about the level of stress that you're going on, what's driving the most of your stress? Is it work stress? Is it personal stress? Is it money stress? Is it all the combined? Okay, the first thing you need to do is dial in on what's stressing you out. Now, when you talk about money, money can make you stressed if you don't have enough. Just remember, all the money you were working so hard for, in the end, what's it mean? Nothing. It's hard to put that one in perspective because when you're living in a moment, if you don't have enough money to live in a moment, like that guy with that bad attitude, struggling financially and everything else, he was struggling, okay, for a lot of reasons. All I can share with you guys is that, you know, we're all going to have stress, some more than others. Put it in perspective, that the stress you're under today may not be there tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. Don't relive it because it's going to keep resurfacing its ugly head. So try to think positive when you're under stress. We're going to end on this subject here because I think attitudes, as I mentioned, attitudes are contagious or yours worth catching. Now, I've seen all kind of attitudes in my career. The guy I shared early in the story when I started the talk was one of the worst ones I've experienced. But let's be real about the attitudes. You like hanging out with the people in this room? You guys ever encounter a bad attitude? Mark, you've encountered a bad attitude?
Yeah.
Someone you work with, live with? combination?
Once in a while, somebody you work with,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, they just start talking negative. I'm gonna quit tomorrow and all this stuff. It's like, oh, okay, sorry.
So seriously, how do we handle attitudes that aren't favorable? Because they're everywhere, okay? And when you feed in on negative energy, what are you going to get? Negative outcomes. They go hand in hand, you know? So how do you turn that game around of a bad attitude? And sometimes you may never. You know, I'm a hospice volunteer, okay? I've been with people at the end of their life, okay? And what I've seen in my career working with hospice patients, finishing their life, it's sad business, okay? The people that have good attitudes about life in the end, you know what? They're okay. They're okay leaving the world. The people that don't or have no belief system, they're deathly afraid, and it's sad. So our attitudes are something that we all got to really dial in on. But we all know this, that your lifestyle drives your attitude. Just like that guy that I opened up the talk with that horrible attitude, his lifestyle was terrible. Everything bad you could do, he did. And, you know, this is your challenge. Every day, if you would look at your life that this is your last day, how are you going to live it? If it's your last day. You know, would you abuse yourself more or turn the game around? So we got to turn the game around, guys. And everybody here has the opportunity to do it. The challenge is up to you. I mean, Carol can preach this stuff all day long. How are we doing on time? We're just about done?
Oh, we're good.
Okay. We can preach this stuff all day long. You can do it, you know. And at the end of the day, you still do what you do. And whether it's good or bad or indifferent. So I got to think about lifestyle every day because it's part of what I do. But believe it or not, everybody has control over your attitude. I mean, some people say, oh, I have no control over my attitude. I live with a negative wife. I got this, I got that, I got this, I got... Because you know what? They're your circumstances. Those are your environment. You can't change your environment, but you can change the way you think. Now, how hard is it to change the way you think? Now, you've been with this guy, Tim, for 10 years. Have you tried to change him yet? Just his weight. Yeah. How's it going? It's difficult. You ever try to change her?
But I don't do the McDonald's. I'm doing the fruit and the vegetables.
Good. So you're making some inroads. Yeah. But it's hard to change anything in life, let alone the way you think. So make today everything that you want it to be by keeping an open mind. And this is a hard thing for people to do, minds. Is anybody here a closed-minded thinker? Come on, be honest if you're closed-minded.
Be honest, he said.
Carol.
Where's the Marlboro Man? Where'd he go?
Oh,
He had
Lucky
to go to
Strike?
his grandson's soccer game.
Oh, okay. Well, tell the Marlboro Man. I wish he was still here. But don't you want to make today your best day? Because you don't know how many days you're going to have. I mean, hopefully we're going to have a lot more. But make today the best you can, and that's what we try to encourage people to do. So there's a lot of personal benefits when you take care of you. And when you think about all these benefits, you know, we implement a lot of flexibility programs for companies. We have over 5 million workers that do our physical readiness every day. Bless you. I was in this one company, and there was a lot of bad attitudes. I seem to get a lot of environments where attitudes are kind of sometimes crappy. And this guy says to me, Mark, what's in it for me if I stretch every day? You ever hear something so ridiculous? I said, what did you say? What's in it for me? I said, are you serious? What's in it for you? I said, my friend, it's your body, it's your health. If you take care of it, who wins? He goes, well, I guess I do. I said, you guess? It's yours. It's yours. Look, I might have shared with you the last time I was with you this idea that this is your only home, Tim, right now. This is your home. Al, this is the only home you're ever going to have is you. If you don't like what you're driving, trade your car in or your truck. If you don't like where you live, go get another dwelling. But your home you're sitting with right now has to get you in your vehicle, take you to your next destination, take you back to your home. You got to feed this home. This home needs rest. This home needs to be taken care of. And when I see that when people's homes are broken, mentally, physically, emotionally, it's sad stuff. I mean, every day is going to change. But at the end of the day, we have this opportunity. Every one of us in the room have an opportunity to live better. And you have the ball's in your court, okay? And, I'm passionate about this subject, and I've been preaching about it for a long time. But all these benefits come to you. And I might have shared this in our last time we got together. And at the end, we're going to stretch you out before we wrap up my talk. So think about what this says. And this is very true. We spend our entire lives sacrificing our health to gain money. Then when we reach our retirement years, we may sacrifice all of our money to regain our health. Would you agree that's a very true statement? And we're so busy working and commuting, and our life is consumed by this. And the next thing you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, and it's too late. And this one here I'm going to end on because this is very, very true. If you don't consciously form good habits, you will unconsciously form bad ones. Why are we doing this today? Several reasons. One, Amhof cares about you. They wouldn't bring me back for round 2 if they didn't. Carol wouldn't be doing all the stuff she didn't care, right? Even though you might think, Carol, you're getting on us again. And the company cares, and that's positive. That's good. So take the opportunity to make some good conscious behavior changes, That's not easy, but the longer you do it and you challenge yourself every day. When I wrote the first book, The Game Plan for Aging 4 Quarters of Life, I was very competitive in athletics, okay? And especially as a wrestler, that's a super competitive sport. It's one-on-one. I don't have a team with me, and we're associated with a team. But when you're done with that competition, who do you got left to compete with? You. And we're the hardest ones to change. So that's all we got to do is start working on this one day at a time. And we're going to wrap up with some flexibility right now.